everybody, welcome to another Mycosa's Adventures for a somewhat more sedate episode. Mostly just wanted to talk about some plans and do a wee bit of harvesting. So in our last episodes we did some tracking of the strongholds and made our apothecary finally. This is a slightly updated setup of our tree farm. It's got a little more. Before it, I'd reduced it to, I think, 12. Now it's at, I want to say, 16? Which is a little better. Still a good output for my trees. My bird's feeling chatty. Hello, baby bird. We're starting to collect wood to get ready for that tree of life that I had in mind I keep talking about. It's going to be a large structure, similar in sizing to the Wizard's Tower itself. The basic idea is going to be to set up 3 spirals of wood. Each of them from one of the 3 different main tree types. Boy, that's a lot of background sound from those animals. Sorry, guys. Anyway, don't worry, that'll fade out as we get downstairs more, I actually bought some graph paper. I'm going to be plotting the thing out, sorting out exactly how this is supposed to work. Oh, I hear eggs. We'll be heading upstairs to gather them after this. But anyway. The idea is also to get a good number of leaves eventually, so eventually I'm going to be harvesting the leaves as well, to try and get a reasonable assortment. So I can pretty much make the trees directly. Let's see. Oh, there's another. And then, ensconced in the middle of it, is going to be a sphere of glass. Still sorting out how I might want to do that. I kind of want to make it a sort of little spherical biodome. Put it in glass and then fill it in as if it were a bit of the ground below it with dirt and some actual stone. Set some water in piece by piece. If I can get a silk touch anything, I'll set some ice as well to make a bit more complete a thing of water. There we are. I'll sort it out either way. And I do know that at the base of that tree, I'm going to put a sort of entryway in. It's going to be slightly hollow on the inside in the form of there being a ladder heading straight up the middle, but otherwise it's going to be a single solid structure. Ah, more eggs. Excellent. And oh, more egg. And we hop back up here. Oh, baby hopped out. Let's see, I can nudge you back in, I think. No, no, no! Oh dear! Oh dear. Get in there. Get in. There we go. There we go. 2 more another baby one, cool. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Oh, jeez. Let's go harvest a little down here. It's mostly going to be a pretty structure, not a full function structure, but there is going to be a function to it. I'm going to make a base of sorts within that dome. It's going to be a pretty landmark, if nothing else. And it's also going to be the site for my main mining structure. And I've got one below here, of course. I'm going to do a little work down there, too, while I'm working on other things. But the other one has the advantage of being right below an extreme hills biome. Oh, apple. There we go. Huh. Geez, this axe may not last. fact, I'm pretty sure I'm going to need another one. Do I have any? I don't think I have any stone here. Just give me down to hatch. On a purely unrelated side note, I know what I want to do down here, but I've got some things I've got to do first. I'm going to take out the outer ring of torches to darken the top. I'm actually going to try and just dot glowstone, so it looks kind of like a starry area. More importantly, so that the top area is somewhat lit as you get below. Reason for that? Did you know that monsters can grow on the top of mushrooms? Trust me, they can grow right on the top of mushrooms. Yes, baby bird, right on the top of them. Would anyone like to guess how I found this out? There we go. That should do it. Yep, set up a mushroom farm for giant mushrooms down here. And, creeper, 2 spiders, and a skeleton spawned. Scared the crap out of me. So the interesting part is going to be getting those 3 types of wood to spiral up in a way that looks good. Yes, this is where I'm working. Alright. I'm going to be trying to plot it out a bit on graph paper, try some things on a creative server, try some different ideas, because I wanted this to look nice. I mean, the wizard tower is nice, but it's as much a function of, well, functionality as it is anything else. It's not made specifically to be something artful, whereas the Tree of Life primarily is supposed to be something artful. And I've got some ideas, but it's going to be a question of how to do it, and how big I can do it. Well, that was ominous. And how big I can do it. I mean, I'm not sure how big of a sphere I want to put on the inside. Except I want it to be a good size to it. Something visible from a distance. I was thinking a 36 diameter circle. And filling it on the inside with, well, as if it were an island. Oh, I knew it. Well, I gotta take into account, I'm gonna be chopping down 64 trees of varying heights here. You know? It's a minimum of 4 each. That's gonna take a lot of tree. A bit of my inspiration for this whole Tree of Life thing, some of you may know I am a Tolkien fan. I'm a fantasy fan in general, but like most fans of fantasy, I'm a fan of Tolkien, who is, in my opinion, the archetypal bard when it comes to, fantasy and sword and sorcery, that sort of thing. Basically, he wrote the mold for it. I've got a cousin who actually very much dislikes Lord of the Rings, feels it's very stereotypical, very contrite and contrived, feels that it perpetuates a lot of stereotypes of the genre, and that the writing style is, in his opinion, rather poor. Now, my cousin makes a few mistakes in that. The first of which, he's not perpetuating the stereotypes. The stereotypes started with what he wrote. They started with him. He wrote the thing that the others are stereotyping. Number 2 was written for a different time, day, and age. I mean, I wonder what he would consider good writing, and I swear by all that is holy and some that is not, if his example of a good writing example would have been Twilight, then I have no cousin. I really doubt that'd be the case, to be honest. I'm not a big Twilight fan. I read the first one. I did. I wanted to know what I was hearing all about, and the writing isn't very good. The storyline is very... First, she makes just plain old errors in her writing. I don't mean like, character A should have done this, or character B should have done that. I mean as in writing errors, spelling errors, grammatical errors, and not just in dialogue. I'd need to have it in front of me to point them out again. That was the first thing I noticed, that Twilight had a poor editor. Second thing I noticed was that the characters weren't very well developed. And some of their stuff just didn't make sense. And I didn't like the characterizations. There was a lot I didn't like. It just wasn't a very good book. It wasn't very well written. I can see how it would appeal to a common low denominator. People who want to feel better about themselves in their own unhealthy habits. Other than that, I don't see any purpose to it. Okay, that's through the wall. Thought that was in here with me. Anyway. Whereas Lord of the Rings was written to a higher denominator in terms of intellectual reading. And he made a point of staying away from 99.9% of the dated language, shall we say. Language that relied on stereotypes. I've only found one instance, a single one, where the words and terminology are dated to the point of non-relevance. One instance at the end of the last book. That's it. I can see why they're still making movies about this now, and why literary authors study this to learn about things that... Oh, shush, baby bird. To learn about, the things he did right, the things that are relevant now, that are still relevant now, the things that aren't relevant now. Because literary art has changed since Tolkien's time. The English language has evolved from then. But much of his writing style is simply written for a different style of generation. The story itself is still excellent. And one of the things that made it so was that he made the world and told stories of the world, rather than making the world and rather than making the story then trying to fit the world to it. I feel that was a smart decision on his part, to be honest. Let's pop up the stairs, grab the rest of those. Now, one of the little-known facts for people of the current generation for Tolkien fans is that Galadriel, that elven queen, is actually probably one of, if not the oldest, well, mortal in Middle-earth. And there are some characters that they don't reference who are older, but they aren't exactly mortal. Galadriel, she doesn't age, but she can be logically killed. There's a character in the book called Tom Bombadil who's, for all intents and purposes, a spirit and entity of nature. You don't kill him. I don't think he could be killed. Heck, the book makes a point of showing that the ring has no effect or temptation for him. Which is the only reason why I wasn't too fond of his inclusion in the book. He kind of seemed there to kind of belie and belittle the power of the One Ring. Make it, trivialize it a bit. And I didn't agree with that. But Galadriel was very old, and one of the things involved in her story was a thing in these great, enormous trees of light. And that's a bit of my inspiration in this. So, I want to make those a tree like that. Something tremendous in size. Okay. Something great and tremendous in size. Something, I'll probably set glowstone amongst the branches here and there. If I had the Twilight mod available to me, I'd even set lightning bugs in it instead. But I'm playing this all natural. I'm playing this as a vanilla one.